Construction.
What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, as well as YouTube. Give us a like, share, and subscribe with your host, Komp, and
Ideal Man.
as well as
Peanut.
today's film is
Alice, Sweet Alice, originally titled Communion, 1976.
which later became a film with Christopher Walken. Alice, Sweet Alice,
Wait, really?
1976. In 1961, a divorced Catholic couple's life is turned upside down when one of their two adolescent daughters is suspected of her younger sister's brutal murder during her first communion and a series of subsequent stabbings.
Oh my
Directed by
God.
Alfred Soule. Written by Rosemary Rietvo and Alfred Soule. Starring Linda Miller, Mildred Clinton, Paula E. Shepard, and a whole bunch of other people. So, Danny, why'd you pick Alice, Sweet Alice?
I've been seeing it mentioned a lot. I'd never really heard of it, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing it like all over my horror Twitter account. Like, I don't know. So I was like, I'll watch it.
Yeah, it tends to be a film that it's always recommended in horror things, and I thought it was just some sort of goofy slasher, which it is to a point.
Yeah, it kind of is.
But I think it actually lives beyond. I now I understand why it kind of stays in the horror annals, even though it's not as spoken about as much. So Thea, why don't we get into the beginning of Alice, Sweet Alice?
Alice, Sweet Alice. It starts, what's the mom's name? Karen. No, Karen's the sister.
Catherine?
Catherine. There's two. Here's the first problem is there's too many A and too many K names in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
And
okay.
some of the people look
That's besides the
similar
point.
too. It's a little confusing.
It's true.
Race.
So the mother brings her two daughters to a priest to get a gift before one of them has their communion. Karen is supposed to have her first communion. And you can tell right away that Karen is sort of like the better treated younger sister, and the older sister,
Brooke Shields.
Alice,
They're both
is,
annoying little shits, though.
They
Oh,
are
they
very
really
annoying.
are very
Wow.
annoying.
Wow. Alice is sad about it and mad about it and doesn't like that she doesn't get all the things that her little sister gets.
I would give her
Even though theoretically
nothing if she
would've
was
gotten
my
those things
daughter. I
already,
would
but-
lock her in a cellar.
And she has some sort of unchecked mental illness, right? Well, I mean, I guess it's
For
checked, but they
sure.
So
But,
that's,
like,
she's played by Paula E. Shepard, and she looks like this modern actress that I can't remember the name of. She has very like her features are very unique.
She's
Her
like a
face.
cat.
Mm-hmm.
She looks like a cat.
Yeah, and I was like, what's up with this girl? Because she looks so strange, like not in a bad way. She just looks so different. And I realized when I looked at how she was 19 years old when she did this, even though she's
Really?
13.
Right.
Yeah, so Danny, you can feel okay about what you told me before. But anyway, so she only
It's
did
not
another
true,
film.
everyone.
She only did another movie besides this, which is a film that is like a cult classic called Sky. And her scene in that one is like some
Which
sort of
one is she in?
monologue. Liquid
Oh,
Sky.
okay.
It's this,
I
like,
thought you said
art house
Vanilla
weird
Sky. I was like,
alien-
I don't remember that.
It's no. It's like this weird alien, but it's not. It's like Alien, but art alien type of film. I think you would probably like
Okay.
it. But she's good in that. Like I saw the clip that she's in, and she gives this monologue that's really interesting. Here, her acting's a little like more bizarre and like disjointed, and but also since it introduces Brooke Shields.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm not really sure who Brooke Shields is. Like, I know the name. Like, I know she's very famous.
You're certainly a post-boomer, right? So you would know. What are you, Generation X, right?
No, I'm a
So-
millennial.
Is that
Yeah.
what you are? I don't know what people are anymore. But Brooke Shields, they made a big deal about Brooke Shields being in this film, and she's only in the movie for probably 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's taken out in the first 10 minutes of the film, and I thought maybe her ghost would be coming back. I never really knew what this movie was about. So I don't know if it was
I still
a ghost
don't know what
film,
it's
if it was
about.
a slasher film. I enjoyed it, but yeah. So Brooke Shields went on to become a big sort of facet in the, I guess, fashion and beauty and stuff like that. I
She
never
was a
kinda
child
got into-
star. Like she was in a lot of
She was,
movies
yeah.
as a kid, but like after this. So I mean, I've never seen most
She
of them.
was in
but I
Midnight
know
Meat
of
Train.
them. She was also in Midnight Meat Train.
She was not in that.
She absolutely was. She was the
Susan
weird,
Hoff.
No,
Yeah,
she
she was
weird
the
art
train.
person. She was like the
I don't
art,
remember her in that. Weird.
the art.
Oh
gallery
yes.
owner.
Okay, I
Yeah.
remember now.
And she was in
But
Freeway.
anyway,
She must
so-
have been the wife of that crazy guy.
Oh yeah, Kiefer
Yeah,
Sutherland.
yeah.
So so everybody made a big deal about Brooke Shields being in it. Brooke Shields was about 10 years ahead of my time, obviously, because of when she kind of came out, and plus, I read up on a little bit about her, and she, much like Demi Moore, I think she was also in that film, I think, The Blue Lagoon, which is about like two 14-year-olds naked hanging around in the jungle, and I was like, oh, that must
God.
be like a European movie. Certainly, I'm sure the director is.
Jesus Christ.
And then I also think she was in like, and I'm putting my fingers in the air, the quote figures. She took like artistic photography, her and sort of Demi Moore, when they were like naked like kids, and I was like, oh boy, I'm not googling that shit. So that
Yeah, you
that's
have to
kinda
use.
how
What's the
world-
alternative to Google? That it's encrypted and everything.
Ask Jeeves or
Bing.
oh, what is it?
No, I actually can't remember. It's
Bing.
called. You know what? The joke fell flat because
That's
I can't
great.
remember what it's called. It doesn't matter.
So
In any
that's-
case, you're gonna
that's
look at
sort of
child
like
porn through a
how-
VPN.
Danny does his research. So that's kind of like what people and kids were back then. They sort of took these weird artistic photos, and that's some other shit. So Brooke Shields, she's not in the movie for long. So why is this, Thea? What is the dynamic?
Tell
between
what
these two
happens
sisters?
to her character, Thea.
She's fucking annoying. So, she took my doll. Okay, so, Alice takes her doll and runs away.
Bitch.
And Karen runs after her and tries to get it, and then Alice traps her in a room in an abandoned building she's in, and is just like, fuck you, don't tell anybody, or else I'm...
Is it an abandoned building? I thought it was the basement in the building that they were in.
No, that's later. This is when she
Okay.
like chases her down to this weird spot.
She has lots of
spooky
lots of
places.
areas to be.
So how
Yeah.
did Mrs. Trelawney or whatever get
Uh-huh.
a duplicate outfit and like?
I mean, it's a
I think she
yellow
was
slicker
watching it.
and they show us like right at
How
the top.
often do
I don't
people
know if
walk
you noticed
around
that-
in yellow slickers and translucent, horrifying masks? Is that common?
I mean, I think at the time, like, yellow slickers were pretty common. So, like, you could just go and buy one.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I think it's pretty good at red herrings, this film.
Yeah.
Continue, Thea.
at the beginning, I don't know if you noticed, there's a quick shot of, like, a store, like, storefront where they're selling the same masks
Okay.
that she has.
I did not notice
So-
that. Okay.
It's very quick, but I was like, okay, so...
So she
somebody
wasn't
else could
actively
directly have
trying
this
to
mask.
frame Alice.
I don't know. That part I don't totally know.
It just-
'cause maybe
it just
because she was
seems so
she was kind of
vague.
obsessed with them.
It would make sense
Like-
because she ran down the stairs. And,
Yeah, she was obsessed with them, like, and
Well,
wanting
she
to
wanted the
fuck
mom
them
to like
up.
pay her punishment for being a whore or something weird.
Well, and
but,
she
like,
wanted to take her kids away to punish her too, right? So like she probably knew that she
'Cause she
had
was
at least
divorced,
the
is that
code.
why, or?
Yeah. Oh, because wait, the
the
girl
power of
walked up-
Christ
or,
corrupted her.
At the beginning, Alice scares her with that mask.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get into that. But
Anyway.
Thea, I think these are your people, right? These are all Italians.
Is this what you guys
So
do?
many Italians.
Karen Spags.
I mean, Tredoni's
They
definitely
say
my
Spags.
people.
Is this the type of
It's
things
Spain,
that
it's
you
Italian,
that
right?
you guys promote in your
And it's-
Murder
And the Italian,
and
like-
obsessive Catholicism. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't. I was expecting to see a. Never mind. I'm not gonna make it. So yeah. So this is heavily. What was weird is like, it's filmed obviously in 1976 or released in 1976, but it takes place in the 60s. Because I was wondering why
Oh,
is
does
everybody
it?
so,
Okay.
their clothing. Yeah, because they go into the police station and see a photo of John F. Kennedy on the wall, and they usually put the current president's photo on a wall,
Right.
in government places.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, oh, this is the 60s.
Maybe they just
obviously
liked him.
before he got. Maybe they just liked him, right?
Do you know that there's a?
Oh,
Do you know that
ladies and
apparently there's a
gentlemen.
game? Somebody made a video game.
Oh no, I played it. Yeah, I played that a long time ago.
Oh, this is old. Okay, I only just
Oh,
read about it.
no.
Yeah, it's like a 3D remodeling, like up to the minute detail of JFK's
Assassination, yeah.
caravan going down the
God.
street, and you're supposed to line up exactly how this guy shot. Supposedly,
Oh,
quote
good.
unquote, if you believe he did it or not. I forget his name.
That guy.
John Wilkes
That
Booth.
That guy. John Wilkes Booth did it. He was such a good actor. He lived through the ages and killed John F. Kennedy. But anyway, it's a hard game. That's all I'll say. and then I felt very guilty playing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this place takes place in the 60s. Why do you think that was important, Thea?
That it takes place in the 60s? I guess because, like, now the idea of somebody being obsessed with someone sinning by, like, getting divorced and having kids out of marriage is insane.
Do you think this was sort of like just because the kids that were older enough by them to see it grew up in the 60s? So they're watching basically their lives? It's sort of like when we watch films
This
now
came out
about
before
the
Exorcist,
2000s,
right?
I guess it would be for them. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would assume that's what it is, that this was sort of like the cultural shift so the older audience could I guess recognize themselves as 60s characters. So there's a heavy religious theme, Danny. What's that?
I'm just thinking about that downstairs neighbor. He's like, the landlord, I guess. He's like the landlord.
Landlord, you mean?
He is so.
Danny, why don't you explain the most grotesque character I've ever seen?
Oh my god.
There wasn't a single scene of him where he didn't have like basically shit stains in his crotch.
Shit stained pants?
Oh.
Pee and shit.
It was
stain, Mr.
gross.
Alfonso. He's played by Alfonso.
And he's like, I guess he's like a pedophile. Like it kind of.
He looks like he walked out of a fucking who's that director? Like the guy who did Hairspray, John Waters' film.
Oh, okay, and it's just so like it's so grotesque. Like it's like disgusting.
Yeah, he's like one of those people. Like you look at him and then you like put down any food because you're like, holy shit! Like I don't want to. I gotta watch my weight or something. Which I felt bad because then I looked.
Well, it's not just about it being overweight. It's that they make him like a disgusting slob.
Yeah, he's grotesque. He's just.
And he's like a pedophile.
He's like scary.
He played it really well.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that actor Alfonso Noble, he really moonlighted as a bouncer at gay clubs. I kind of got that vibe off of him watching the film. Anyway,
he wasn't really that big though, right? I mean, he couldn't have been.
But what's that?
I'm saying he wasn't really that big.
I think he was. No, he really was. He really was that size.
He was.
Oh,
because
okay.
what happened is in real life he tried to get through a turnstile to get on the train and he got stuck.
Oh,
and
no.
apparently it made the news, and so he killed himself with a pistol after that
Oh,
embarrassment.
God.
So I'm surprised
So
Danny
brutal.
didn't laugh. Anyway,
What?
so
I'm
this
not a
big
monster.
Okay, so this religious angle, Danny, what's that all about? Let's get back into that.
That's Thea's people doing what they do. Like, I honestly I don't know. I'm a fucking Jew.
Sins
Like I'm a
against
non-religious Jew. I don't know what the hell these weirdos do.
There's no afangools. There's no fingers crushed up into like when they talk with their hands kind of. You don't see that in this movie, so it's not like stereotypical Italians. I guess the only stereotypical Italian.
Well, if they did that, they'd
about
have
this
to
with
take
Italian person
10
listening to
lashings
Catholic
from Mother
guilt.
Mary.
So how would you explain? And then the husband comes back. What was his name?
Dominic or something, right?
Dom Spages. Hey, Angela. So Dom.
I was
comes back.
sad for them because they really had a nice relationship.
I
Well,
know.
not really, because they divorced and he had a wife and he was about
Yeah,
to
but
cheat on
fuck his wife. I mean, she's weird and needy sounding. I mean, they belonged together. They had that wonderful daughter Alice
I gotta
together.
be
I mean,
real.
you can't beat
if,
that.
If those were my kids, I would have left too.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
If Alice was my daughter, I would either, take the whole family and leave her, or I would leave.
This guy was pretty chill as fuck about his daughter being murdered and put inside of a box and set on fire.
Literally.
Well, you saw how annoying she was.
He just showed up and was like, "I'm gonna take care of the investigation while these cops have their thumbs up their asses."
Because I mean, the way his daughter gets killed at the very beginning of the film, it's a person in a slicker stabs her before she goes to get her first communion. They dump her body inside of this. I guess I don't know what it was, just like a box.
It's like a pew, I guess,
like a
or
pew, and
something
then
like
they
a bench.
set her on fire.
I didn't really ever believe it was Alice because it seems too obvious that it's Alice.
Yeah. But I
Right,
thought it was.
yeah.
There's some movies like that where they try to make it too obvious that it's like way too. It's
Well,
almost
once
like
she's in the mental institution or whatever, it's like
Yeah, and then it still happens
It
anyway.
still happens,
Yeah.
and then I was expecting like, okay, are they going to now say that she broke out of the mental institution, and then it would be her,
Right.
I guess. Otherwise, no. So
But
I don't know.
it's particularly spooky. I don't know. The ambience on the film is very spooky. I don't know how to explain it. Right? It's
The
just
most
like-
upsetting part was the roaches. Ugh, God. It was
Why
so
is that?
bad.
That was the most upsetting part to
It
you.
was
I
just
don't
so
even remember the
horrible.
roaches. What happened?
She put a jar of roaches on her neighbor, on the guy.
On his belly. So that when he woke up to them crawling all over him, and then he started screaming, and then he got stabbed.
And then that
Or
old
dead.
lady walked in and stabbed him.
I
Yeah.
realized that Linda Miller was the daughter of Jackie Gleason.
Yeah.
So I guess this
Yeah.
was her first foray into, not first, but her foray into film.
Do you think he knocked her straight to the moon as a child?
That to
Boy.
me is one of the greatest jokes in Family Guy. Is that
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
they were watching The Honeymooners, and every time The Honeymooners, right? There, even though
Yeah,
this is like 50
yeah.
years.
It's basically the Flintstones live action. That's what the Flintstones
Yeah,
is
that's
based
basically
on.
what it was. And Ralph Cramden always made a threat. He's like, Alice to the moon, Alice. Like he was gonna
Yeah.
hit her. But in the Family Guy, when
He does.
he actually punches her, and she falls on the floor, and then you hear the audience like gasp in horror, and he's looking at the audience like, "Oh shit!" It's like it's the
Oh, no.
funniest fucking joke that show ever did.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I guess he couldn't.
Is
help
that show
with
still
that,
on?
so- actually they played it on Saturday night. I just happened to randomly see it at midnight.
Is
so
it like
it's
terrible now? Because I stopped watching after
no,
like.
it's funny.
Is
It's
it?
still it's actually funny, yeah, because there's a difference with sitcoms. Back then, it was sort of like a
No, I'm not
general-
talking about Honeymooners. I'm talking about Family Guy.
Oh no, it's horrible.
Yeah,
From
okay, that's what I
saw.
thought.
No, it was after season 3. I just
I watched the first like 7 seasons or so, and then I was like, all right, this is bad now.
was that but they like there are some times where there's super mean spirited jokes that it's like they had a joke about Michael J. Fox and the Mask of Zorro as like
Oh, no.
one of the most offensive. I couldn't stop laughing at it. But anyway, Thea, that was never your thing, right? The Family Guy.
Family Guy.
Was Family Guy ever your thing?
I was really obsessed with it right when it first came out because I was like 13, and that's
Yeah, I
pretty
think
much
that's
the
probably the
age
right-
for that.
I've
humor.
always liked South Park a lot
Sort of the
more.
same thing with South Park.
South
Yeah,
Park is
exactly.
pretty
Well,
amazing.
but South Park has like actual commentary
Yeah,
on
yeah,
things
yeah,
that
yeah.
even if you get older, you get it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Family Guy is just like it is the 13-year-old humor level, and that it doesn't get better from there.
Yeah.
Speaking of Family Guy, the family in this, guys, they're crazy.
Guys.
How'd you like that? That
So
was
calm.
That was really good
What
transition.
a transition.
So there is the secondary set of character. There's Father Tom.
What is
who
the
I
deal
think
with that? Is he like? Are these people
he
so
wanted to get with
religious?
the mom. I think he was like. I think
Are
that's
priests allowed
totally-
to have sex with moms? No, they only have sex with
They're
children.
not,
I thought.
but he could have sex with her in
I'm
his brain.
surprised. I'm surprised if he probably dresses up like a little boy and goes to town.
Do you think
But
so?
Mrs.
On a-
Tribaldi works with Father Tom. 'cause I
Well,
think
okay, that
that's-
would be a good way for them to get that out of them systems, though. If they dressed up like children and masturbated, that would be better than what they do.
Oh God.
class act humor in this show. So I think that's really the reason why she went bonkers, the old lady,
Yeah.
because I think she knew she could.
Because the
see
priest
She's
wanted to
jealous.
fuck
because
the.
She was cold as fuck to that whole family. I think that's what she was just jealous. She wanted the young father to give her his communion wine, so to speak. And
Ooh.
I'm sure there's been plenty of like stories of.
So
priests-
basically, her entire angle is she just needed to get laid.
Yeah, she wanted something, all right, or she just wanted the purity that she probably was like. She probably wanted that sense of religiosity that was beaten into her as a
Yeah.
kid. You know what I mean?
She wanted to be filled with God's love.
Religion is not
Wink.
good, according to this
Who knew
movie.
Thea could make an even more filthier joke than both of us? So, were either you guys brought up really religiously or no?
No.
No.
I went
Negative.
to Catholic school as a kid, and I just was like, after like I think up to the 6th grade, I was like, nah, this ain't it for me. I was like, forget it.
Is your family? Your family's not religious, though. Why would they send you
At
that?
the beginning they were. Then
Okay.
they realized the cold reality of this
The
this
world.
plane of reality, especially this past year. You're just like,
Oh
who cares?
God.
But
It's all good.
yeah, it's not all good. So
No.
these other set of characters, what I did like, what were things that you guys think didn't work for you? Because it kind of seems like you guys are a little lukewarm on this movie.
You want to go first, Thea, or me? I don't.
Nah, you go.
I feel like it was just kind of like a little pointless. Like it's called like,
Really?
yeah. I mean, it was well made, but I don't know. I don't think it lived up to the hype of what I was hearing. It's
What hype did you hear about it? I never really heard hype. I
just
heard it
every
was very good.
out of no. I've never really heard of it, and then for like the past few months, it's like on every list, like, oh, you got to see this, you got to see this, and it's like, okay, this is like this old movie. I'm sure it's good because a lot of old movies.
You this?
I just like follow a million horror people on my Twitter and stuff.
I see what you mean.
You know, and like
the Twitter Danny won't show me because he's ashamed of.
I fucking invited you.
No, you didn't. Thea, are you friends with Danny on Twitter?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm offended. Anyway, so Thea, what
wait, I'm still talking here, motherfucker.
He's still going.
Sorry.
I was just saying, like, you know, it's called Alice, Sweet Alice, and like in the end, it really has nothing to do with Alice. It's just like she's just a red herring. Like it has nothing to do with her. It's about this crazy old lady. So I don't know. It just seems like
I think it is about her. What are you talking about?
Not really. I mean, it's about this crazy old lady, and she's just a red herring, and like they make it seem like it's about Alice. Like Alice is the killer the whole time, but she's not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I just found it a little like I don't know. It just felt too much like Scooby-Doo or something.
It was a little bit like unclear. Like the clarity of the plot was sort of all over the place.
Yeah.
Like we knew, like it felt like the priests or Tredoni, because they're shown so early in the movie and because they're shown consistently throughout, I was like, well, something has to be going on there. Because otherwise, why are we even looking at them?
You did skip over a little bit of Annie De Lorenz, was even more
she's a real
annoying
asshole.
than the kids. She is so
The aunt, yeah.
She's like,
she was brutal.
she's almost like an archetypical fucking stepmother from a fantasy story or something. She's just a fucking like an annoying witch. So Thea, what was the stuff that didn't work for you in this?
I think it's an interesting idea because it's interesting to look at like it's like it has a mental health angle almost, but because the time that it's in, it doesn't sort of take care of it eloquently. Like I feel like if they remade this now, it'd be a more interesting movie.
Do you think it's a negative look at mental health, or they're actually?
I mean, they sort of say like you can tell like the cops are like they're literally saying she's nuts.
Oh, well, yeah.
But I think that's also a reflection of the times and like probably how the cops actually did talk about people.
Well, cops are scumbags.
I was thrown off when one of the guys was taking the lie detector test. He goes, "Did you see your tits?" And I was like, "What?" I was
literally, I was like, "What the fuck?"
They don't necessarily say her age, but she looks like a child. Like she looks like a kid.
Yeah, she looks like a 14 or 15.
She sort of has that like I don't know if you know who Miranda Cosgrove is. Miranda Cosgrove is this girl from this show called iCarly. She's this brunette actress.
Why are you watching children's
I'm not,
female
because
children's
I
shows?
consume so much media and know about I do not watch that show, but I'm telling you about her. But she's this actress who's an adult. Oh God! So she was younger, but she has like the head of an adult, so it gives that sort of I don't know what it's called.
The head of an adult on the body of a child.
You know when
that sounds like every
weird.
priest's wet
fantasy.
It's
not a. Believe me when I say
it's Dakota Fanning syndrome. Big head, little body.
Yeah,
it's like
but your face.
Dakota Fanning syndrome.
It's like an unsettling thing with this girl. Speaking of Dakota Fanning, I remember as a young man, there would be like clips of Dakota Fanning in like Japan being interviewed, and boy oh boy, do they really have a Lolita complex in Japan? Because
they sell underwear and vending machines.
I know this guy who interviews her. This guy's like he must be like in his 20s or 30s, like a super fan of Dakota Fanning. Because I'm sure Dakota Fanning looks exactly like a lot of what these. I'm not saying all Japan.
Well, she's 26.
No, when she's a kid. I'm telling you, when she's a kid, when she first came out, and he's like, "Oh, what a kind guys do you like?" I almost went into a racist accent. I didn't mean that. I just meant that's what he says to her in English.
Yeah,
and I was like, she's like 9 years old.
She's like a baby.
It's so fucking disturbing. And she's like, he, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Back off
but that's a good point in this movie. Like, so, like that subject comes up, like of like sort of sexualizing young girls.
Okay.
And religious fanaticism and
I thought it had a lot of
divorce
good stuff to it.
And mental health.
Yeah, but I don't see how it all tied together.
Therapy. No, because it doesn't. That's the thing. It's like it had a lot of interesting points.
Yeah.
But no argument. Like this isn't like an essay. There is no sort of point. They're just
I agree with you.
I think they just threw everything against the wall, much like when spaghetti's done and the Italian family throws spaghetti at the wall.
That's right. That's how we do it every time.
So Thea's house is all full of spaghetti and has. Like,
There's like
what's going on?
tomato sauce
we just
stains
paint over it
everywhere.
onto the wall.
It's just stuck there like macrame or something. But I actually liked it, I guess, more than you two guys did. But I could see definitely the flaws of not having sort of this clear narrative, especially that
It was better than some like slashers of that time that were like overly simple.
I just don't think it should be like a classic top movie. It's not like a
sure
bad
at the
movie.
time, though, people were like pretty impressed by how.
I don't want to hear your fucking excuses.
That little the little girl Angela who kind of vanishes in the middle of the film, the daughter of the aunt who like vanishes and she like disappears. For some reason, I thought you know how like Angela and the girl Alice were walking down that staircase and that little boy was following them. I thought he maybe was going to be the killer or something. So I was impressed that like they kind of diverted.
There were some good red herrings.
Yeah. And although it's way too coincidental that the lady has the same fucking jacket and mask and all that bullshit as the little girl does. Maybe she found it, you know, but I don't think they even lived.
It didn't bother me.
Right.
It didn't. It really, because I like if she bought those somewhere and like obviously a bunch of the kids had the same slickers.
I thought the reveal was cool because I was like, when they showed it was her, I was like, oh, like I wasn't like shocked. I mean, I was sort of surprised, but then I was like, oh, this isn't a character I didn't even think about. You know what I mean? So I thought it was pretty interesting. That it was like somebody was, and I was very much impressed that they killed what's his name, Dom, like. Because I thought he would survive to the end. Because you know they usually bring this guy out of nowhere.
Because they were painting him as like the
I
hero.
liked his character.
Right.
It was a little, you know, it was sad.
Of course he would, Danny, the runaway dad who doesn't care about his children.
Because he was
beautiful.
beautiful.
Those kids are terrible.
That's
How many times do we need to say that? Those kids are the worst.
They write that in some sort of articles that if your kids are ugly, it shows that you parents don't really like your kids or something. Yeah, there's some article like that.
Is that true?
It's fucked up. It's like.
Well, that explains my relationship with my parents.
Same way with you. But his kids are not ugly. His kids are both cute. So
just annoying.
I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought that was an interesting reveal. I thought the ending, the last part where she gets, she stabs the priest in the head or the neck. I thought that was pretty fucking dope.
It was cool, but I was like, why are they just all standing there while she's stabbing him and holding him forever?
I mean, that was very stupid. They just
like,
sort of
wouldn't they pull her off?
Like that one detective goes like he's like, oh boy, like you know what I mean? It's just
he's like I told you so.
You just saw it. He goes, I told you. He should have said that at the end. I told you, you dumb fuck. He should have just said that. He should have took the microphone from one of the priests. Got up onto the altar and said that. But I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was pretty good. Because I'm trying to see it in the context of when it was released back then in the late 70s.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see there's definitely a lot of flaws story-wise, like just too many coincidences and stuff like that. But I thought for all those aspects...
What do you think the ending meant? What do you think that ending meant with the bag?
What happens with the bag? I don't remember. What?
Because Alice picks up Tredoni's bag with the knife in it at the end and walks out of the church.
Oh yeah, that was stupid too. They make it seem like she is bad after all.
I think it's some sort of fucking Friday the 13th Part 4 ending. You know where, when whatever the kid is when he kills Jason, then you start looking into the beyond and shit, and you're supposed to think, oh, he's the next Jason. Something that they're saying, oh, she's the next Alice. She's gonna grow old.
She's an extra Donnie.
She's gonna grow old and then work for a priest that she hates, and then start killing people at the 70s.
When she's in her 70s, I think that's a good career trajectory.
It's even maybe some sort of demon possession.
Thea, do you think when you get older you might take up this mantle?
I mean, who's to say I can't do it now?
You're not old enough. You have to be in your 70s at least. That's the cutoff.
But,
I can dress up like I'm in my 70s.
That's true. That's true. You can cosplay as her.
So I thought it was an interesting film for what it was, and it had a lot of interesting things to it that I thought were much better than you. I'm sure. Like,
what's your rating on this?
Right. I wouldn't go out of my way to look for 70s horror films, so this was decent for what it was. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Berating your niece all the time, and then you get slashed in the foot or the leg by someone who you think is your niece, so it gives you the right to yell at your niece that she's a bitch. Danny, what rating would you give this Alice, Sweet Alice?
I give this a 6 out of 10. Having horrific shit stains and pee stains on your crotch at all times, and then getting your comeuppance when somebody first puts roaches on you, and then 10 seconds later, an old lady dressed in a scary mask stabs you for no reason.
She really she really threw that fucking cat, right? I think she hurt that
Oh
cat.
yeah,
for
no,
real.
I
she hurt the
know,
cat.
that made me so sad.
Like
I
that was
can't.
real. Like they didn't give a fuck about animals back then.
Ugh.
She picked up that cat and she threw that shit like for real. Cause that was, I think it was a kitten. So
I
think that cat was in trouble.
hope not, but maybe.
Oh god.
So Thea, what rating would you give Alice?
On that note, I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10. Telling the priest that he shouldn't do it the way he's doing it, and then he gets stabbed, and you're just like, I knew it. I knew this was gonna happen. And you just leave him there to get hugged by his murderer.
Mm-hmm.
He should have like went to every person in the aisle. Did you see that? You see, I told him not to do that. He just does it. That's the ending credits. It's him going, you see that? Hey, and they're all
You didn't
shocked.
fucking listen to me.
So with that, Thea, what's the final word?
Spookin'.
Danny, what's the final word?
Spider creatures.
The Hard Discussion.